Okay. Um, so when you're all grown up and stuff and you're looking for a job, or you already have a job and you're trying to switch to a different job, because most people do switch jobs in their lifetime. We don't usually do the same job for 30, 40, 50 years. Um, some people do, but that's just not the common thing. It just doesn't normally happen that you find the perfect job right off that makes you happy. So just accept it. You're going to switch jobs. But not a whole bunch because that also looks bad that you can't stick with something. So take that into consideration. Anyways, the point of this presentation right now will be qualifying yourself as a professional in the housing design field. Like, how is someone supposed to know if you are actually good at what you do or not? Because when you go in for an interview, they don't know you. How are they supposed to know if you're any good? They have no idea. You have to prove yourself somehow. Um, so there are two ways that they go hand in hand. Sorry, well, three ways actually. Um, and these are them right here. First is by your resume. So your resume is your first snapshot of who you are and what you can do as a designer. Because if you apply for a job, you have to attach your resume to your job application. Well, let's say they have 200 people apply for this job, they all attach their resume. How are they going to choose which top 10 people that they want to interview for this job? They don't know any of these people. So how are they going to know? The only way for them to know is by reading everybody's resume and saying, who looks the best on paper? So that's why it's really important for your resume to be really freaking awesome. Because that is the only way that people are going to tell you apart from other people to get an interview. And you can't even get a job without an interview. The other way would be professional organizations, which we're going to talk about in the next video. And then the last one is portfolio, which is basically a sampling of your work. What you are able to do, what you have done is proof that you know what you're doing. So, a resume is a document used when applying for jobs that highlights your training, qualifications, awards, and experience. Resumes also include a cover letter and a reference sheet. So, here is an example of a pretty well laid out resume. This is a great resume of someone who probably has some design experience under their belt. Or they did a whole lot of things in college to get experience. Basically, you, from this point right now in your life on, you are doing things to try to fill up lines on your resume, like literally. So if you were to sit down right now, which you won't in this class, but you will in my second level, and try to write a resume, it's going to be really, really bare. And you're going to feel like you haven't done hardly anything. But guess what? That's a great lesson because that means that you should start doing things because you're just trying to get things to put on your resume. And um, as soon as you change levels of school, everything disappears. So like you're writing a resume right now as a freshman, everything you did in middle school doesn't count anymore. You write a resume in college, everything you did in high school doesn't count anymore. You write a resume once you're in the job world, like a couple years after you graduate college, college doesn't count anymore. Um, so you have to constantly be doing things. I mean, when you're a 36-year-old adult, you're not going to put down that you did 8 hours of community service with the Beta Club in eighth grade. No, you have to do your relevant stuff. So, resume is so important. First impression. A cover letter is actually a page that goes before your resume. It's like the cover of a book, and your resume is like the pages inside the book in a way, except for your resume is really just one page. So it's the page in front of the resume that introduces you and explains why you are interested in this particular job. So you can see that this example of a cover letter says, "Hey, I'm interested in this. I have these skills. These are some qualities I have that are really good, and this is why I want to have your job or the job that you've put out there for people to apply to." And this is another first impression thing to go with your resume. I mean, who wrote a great cover letter? Who sounds like they want it the most? Who sounds like they have the most skills and qualifications and good qualities about them? You got to read the cover letter. A reference sheet is the page after your resume, and it lists at least three people that your prospective employer could call to verify what type of worker you'll be. And they usually call them. I would say 100% of the time references get called in the like adult world. I would say 50% of the time in the like teenager world, your references get called. Um, I've given many references for former students. Um, and they're all, for the most part, still in college, the ones I give these references out for. So, just know that that's really a thing to have references, people who would talk good about you. Um, Here's some rules about references. They should never be a relative. Because you put down your mom as a reference, I'm automatically not hiring you because you should know better. But of course, like your mom's going to say nice, sweet things about you. Oh, he always did his laundry and took his dishes to the sink after dinner. No, I don't need to know that. I need to know what kind of worker you are. Okay? You don't put people who you're related to. Here's some examples of people you could put: coaches, teachers, church officials like your pastors and ministers and youth folks and stuff. Um, Previous employers, if you've had a job before, don't put a previous employer that did not like you. Someone you babysat for, someone you did yard work for, volunteer organization leaders. Like if you were part of the Beta Club, part of FCCLA, FBLA, FFA, the YMCA Leaders Club, whatever. Anybody that is not related to you that has seen you do good work. They can talk about what kind of person you are. All right. The other topic, and this is one of the other things that can help you get hired, is your portfolio. Now, most jobs will not ask to see your portfolio until your interview. So you have to have a good enough resume, cover letter to get you to the interview. Once they like you enough in the interview, then you can show them your portfolio. There's two types of portfolios: traditional and digital. That should probably be use your common sense to know which is which. A traditional portfolio may look like this. You've got pages of pictures of the work that you did. You probably have some writing. Like right here, we've got some write ups about like describing the work, timelines, materials used, who you worked for, things like that. And it's all bound up in a nice, neat book. Then there's a digital portfolio where you might not be able to tell that much difference about this on a screen because this, in essence, is digital. But it is a more creative way almost of putting together the pictures of the work that you did, where instead of flipping through pages of the book, you would click different icons like this to flip through your pages. Kind of like the flip snack we did earlier, but way more professional looking. Okay, that is that. Write it down.